The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between 2 minutes on Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends watching on Orion Neighborhood Television and also those watching on the local voice on SoundCloud. We got Ian Locke here this week.
Sammy, it's awful week. Now we're back at it, dude. Lots happened.
A lot did happen in the week and a half. Of course, we were busy all week.
Holiday week.
Holiday weekend and all that. But you're in a very opposition. You're not running the board this year.
This week I'm not running the board. We have a guest board operator.
Hello.
It's Kent Davis from Albion College. He's one of our summer interns. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So welcome, Kent.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your warm welcome, everyone. Glad to be here,
Mm-hmm.
even if I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Well, we got a lot to
Me neither.
We got a lot to talk about, though. Of course,
We do. Lots of results.
A lot of results. Spring sports.
A lot of numbers I don't understand.
We got we got girls basketball to talk about today. New coach at Clarkston, and of course, new coach out of Avondale. And of course, we got my projected districts. Of course, the MHA will release their districts likely on June the 15th.
Okay.
So,
Can't believe we're talking about that already.
Yes, we are. And let's talk about our first segment, which is recapping high school sports Saturday. When you look at what happened this week, of course, let's go from sport to sport. Let's start off with softball. Of course, softball. There's 6 teams left from the OA that are in. Of course, 4 of them are in one regional, and the other 2 are in different regionals. Of course, North Farmington winning their home district. Of course, they will be heading to Novi and compete with Heartland, South Line, and Wild Lake Northern, and then Region 15 at Madonna University with Hazel Park, Detroit Mumford, Dearborn, Devon Child, and Centerline. But there's some teams here that were shot. I mean, it came to no surprise. It came no surprise. Stony Creek, Clarkston, and North Farmington, as mentioned, took home district crowns. To me, that was not much of a surprise. But there were some upsets.
Clarkston walked through.
Clarkston walked through, was dominant. Seaholm, Troy, Athens, they're my unexpected district winners because I didn't expect them to win a district championship. Athens, of course, that was one I really didn't expect because I thought personally Troy would win that one, but I'll talk about Troy in a minute. And then, of course, and then Hazel Park unexpectedly came out of nowhere winning a district championship as well. So that was 3 teams I did not expect to win a district championship. Now, Troy Athens in their district was just dominant. Outscored their competition 29-0.
Oh, my word.
Including
a shutout?
Yeah, including 16-0 demolition of Berkeley, 7-0 over Warren Mott, and 6-0 over Royal Oak.
Holy moly.
Yeah. The shocker in that district to me was Troy, was the Colts. Gary,
strong team.
Tom Callahan has done a really nice job of that program.
Yes.
But for them to get humiliated like that, to lose 19-3, that's embarrassing. And Troy's a red opponent. Royal Oak's in the white division. And to see 19-3 on there,
they got him at the right time. It happens, though, Sam. We've seen it in basketball.
And it was at their home field.
Oh, it was? Oh,
it was at their home field.
So
too.
they were hosting.
It
happens, though. I mean, you get them at the right time. Not knowing, what the conditions were. I mean, weather was perfect. They just got hot at one inning or a couple innings, and it wipes them out.
Shocking, to say the least. I did not expect that one.
No.
But then, of course, the other one I didn't expect was what in the blue world happened to Lake Orion? This was a team that I thought could make a run. It had a soft part of the district.
Yes.
Got past Waterford Mott, and then you run into Waterford Kettering. And so I'm looking at Twitter, and I'm saying to myself, what in the blue heck is going on with Lake Orion here? You know what I mean? They're trailing early. They were trailing, couldn't get over the hump. Then they finally tied it at 5. So saying, okay. They finally tied it up after the 5th inning.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to figure out what in the heck happened to this team? You allow 7 runs in the final 2 innings, and you lose 12-6.
Yes.
What in the world happened?
Well, I'll say.
Tell me something. Where was their pitching? Where was their defense?
I'll say this. They were trending that way at the back end of the season. Yes, they had a record on paper that looked stellar, right? Their overall record, I think when we went into cover, I think it was the Stony Creek match. They had 3 losses all year. One, a doubleheader blowout to Clarkston. Mercy.
Right.
Double mercy.
I know they split with North Farmington and they lost twice to Oxford.
Yes, later, right? But that was going into that Stony Creek game, which they barely pulled out. It was a battle. The pitcher for Stony Creek was phenomenal. And Lake Orion was faltering. And the pitching was questionable. The hitting was there. The fielding was questionable going into that Stony Creek game. After that, they would lose. I mean, they started losing. It's like it's like they lost their steam. They lost momentum. And I'm not surprised that they lost. Because they were.
Why aren't you surprised?
They were limping into the postseason. They had they lost to Oxford both games, right? And I'm not going to say it was a blowout, but it wasn't like a 3-2 game or anything like that, or 6-5 or something like that. But they were definitely limping into the postseason. Just on our coverage alone of the games that we were at, they lost every one, and they were mercy, even by teams outside the OAA.
But when you look at this,
so I'm not surprised.
This is not a typical Joe Whitera team.
No, definitely.
When you look at, of course, you got to look at the strengths in districts. You have to win. You have to have great pitching. You have to have great defense.
Yes.
I mean, the hitting can take care of itself.
Yes.
But when pitching and hitting come, I think it's very similar what happened to Troy too. Their pitching and their defense failed them. I mean, so when you look at
and watching Lake Orion going, we'd covered 4 games, 5 games for them this season. It was the hitting that bailed them out.
Right.
It wasn't the pitching that shut somebody down.
No.
And you didn't have that big home run monster like you had for 4 years.
Right.
They had solid hitting. Infield was good. Outfield was okay, at least on the eyeball test. Coach will probably disagree with me on that, but that was just the eyeball test from our coverage. And the pitching, they did not have what you'd say is an elite OAA ace like we've had in the past. So like you said, if you don't have the pitching, postseason is going to be a rough ride.
So you think, and then, of course, when you look at what happened Waterford Kettering, of course, when they went to the final, they were blown out by Clarkston 17-0.
Yeah, there was a lot of surprises, but, I mean, Clarkston wasn't one of them.
Right. Well, Clarkston did beat Oxford, and I think was the de facto district championship game 2-1. So that was a good win for Clarkston.
And Oxford took down Clarkston earlier in the season. So that was a very
they split with them.
It was an interesting matchup.
Yeah, so that was.
But Stony Creek, really?
Yeah, Stony Creek won a district.
Shut out. No runs. I mean, they
no,
shut
that was
down?
Athens.
Oh, Troy Athens. Okay,
Stony
good.
Creek did win a district championship.
Which I could
they beat Adams in a crazy 2-1 game. They beat Adams in a crazy game.
Okay, because but Stony Creek looked good against us at home, and so good for congratulations to Stony Creek. Their ace pitcher was just on fire against Lake Orion.
So now you have a regional. We have a regional with Troy Athens, Seaholm, Clarkston, and Stony Creek.
That's going to be a good one.
I don't think anyone.
You don't think so?
Clarkston.
You don't think so?
No one's touched Clarkston. And then of course
Athens doesn't continue the shutout streak.
No, North Farmington. North Farmington. I think they got a chance to win their regional. They got to get by Wall Lake Northern. Wall Lake Northern's a very good team.
Yeah.
They were 5th in the state during the season. So I think if Sam Trinity has a really nice game for North Farmington, I think that they got a shot at winning their regional. Hazel Park, I don't think they got a chance against Dearborn Devon Child. I think Dearborn Devon Child and Centerline.
Where are these regionals at? So, I mean, if you wanted to see Clarkston, where's that at?
Region 7's at Lake Orion. That's where Stony Creek, Seaholm, Clarkston, Troy Athens are at.
Okay.
Region 8's at Novi with the North Farmington. That's where they're at with Heartland, South Lyon, and Wall Lake Northern. And Region 15 is at Madonna University with Hazel Park, Detroit Mumford, Dearborn Devon Choate, and Centerline.
Interesting.
Not sure where Madonna University's at, though.
No, I used to know.
You got
Where's it at?
Are we talking high school or college?
College.
Madonna University. Yeah. Do you know where it is? He raised his hand. Kent raised his hand. Does he have knowledge he can share?
It's a Christian school, isn't it?
That would be a good guess.
Interesting.
Let me.
I was just confused because Seaholm I've always heard as reference to a high school.
It is
Seaholm
High School.
Yes.
Let's see. Well, Madonna is located in Livonia.
Livonia. Okay. Thank you. That's all I need to know.
Yes, at 36600 Schoolcraft Road in Livonia.
Interesting. Let's go to baseball, though, too.
Baseball,
it was a really bad day for the OA. There's only 2 teams left in there. When you look at Troy, they're one of the 2 teams left, and Farmington. As mentioned, it was a really bad day for the league, of course.
Yeah.
Probably, to me, the biggest shock was Utica Eisenhower winning their district. Waterford Mott coming out of nowhere winning their district.
Yeah.
Brother Rice beating Groves.
Mott took down Kettering, correct?
Yes. They took down Lake Orion and Oxford to win that. Waterford Kettering beat Clarkston at 13 innings.
Wow.
But to me, the biggest shock had to be Utica Eisenhower, what they did to Rochester, which is incredible, insane. Just insane, to say the least.
Okay. Got numbers?
That score was 9-2.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was bad. It was brutal. And the other one is Farmington. They won their district. They shocked Livonia Stevenson, took them out. Livonia Stevenson traditionally a pretty good team. But Farmington, first time in a long time they took home a district championship. When I look at their future regionals, Region 7 is mentioned at Lake Orion. It's where Troy will be at with Waterford Mott, Birmingham Brother Rice, and Utica Eisenhower. I don't see Troy getting by this.
Yeah.
I think it's a wide open race, but it's between those 3 teams when you look at Waterford Mott, Birmingham Brother Rice, and Utica Eisenhower. I think those 3 got a shot. Region 8, that's going to be at Novi. I don't know if Farmington's got a chance to take on Heartland. Heartland's a very good team. We know about their baseball presence.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Heartland in that region over at Novi to take out Farmington. So there'll probably be no OA.
What's the date
teams.
on that one?
That is going to be on a Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep.
Weather's supposed to be
Stormy.
pretty good. Stormy early, I think, and then clear it up.
Okay.
Scattered, I think they were
saying. So that's what I think right now. I really think that end of the weekend there'll be no OA baseball teams left.
Yeah. And Lake Orion bowed out. I mean,
they lost to Waterford Mott in the pre-district. So that was really bad. Let's go to girls soccer. There's only 2 teams left there. As mentioned, Adams and Troy both remain. Adams knocked off Utica Eisenhower penalty kicks.
Oh, boy.
Winning that tough district there.
Not surprising those 2 are left, though. I mean, they're always tough teams.
And then you have Troy, who's still in. Knocked up. They won that brutal district over at involving Birmingham Seaholm, involving Boone Bay Hills. Of course, both those teams really surprised me. They were upset by both Troy and Troy Athens. I did not expect that to happen. So now Region 4 is going to be at Stony Creek. You have Adams, Heartland, Grand Blanc, and Waterford Mott. I don't see anybody touching Grand Blanc in that regional at all. I really don't. Grand Blanc's really good.
Very strong. Yeah.
Really strong. And then Region 3 at Troy Athens. You have Troy, Grosse Pointe North, Anchor Bay, and Fraser. Now, Anchor Bay's undefeated right now.
Oh, boy.
But Grosse Pointe North is who Anchor Bay's facing next. And Grosse Pointe North's had a really nice year. So
they always throw really tough teams out there.
Oh, yeah. And then you have Troy taking on Fraser. I think Troy will win that. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me if Troy wins this region. It really wouldn't.
Well, they got some work to do, but
they do.
They
but
could...
it wouldn't surprise me if Troy does win this regional. It really wouldn't.
Well, we'll know next week.
We'll know that next week for sure. Let's go to other sports. As mentioned, congratulations to Birmingham Seaholm for taking home the state tennis championship.
Yeah, I saw that. That's fantastic.
Good win for the Maples.
Absolutely.
I mean, great. And they beat Birmingham Marion. They scored 34 points in the process.
Wow.
So that was a great win for them.
And that's their second state title of on the ladies' side this season, right?
Yes, it is. And then let's talk track and field. Of course, let's go lacrosse first. Boone Bay Hills' boys and girls lacrosse teams their boys teams in the state semifinals. Shocked Rockford, 12-9 at Lansing
Wow.
Catholic. Now they get to play Birmingham Brother Rice. Brother Rice looks vulnerable, and I think they got a chance. I mean, there's any team's got a chance, especially with Blue Bay Hills to go through.
Yeah.
Knocking off, of course, Lake Orion in the regional, and then of course knocking off.
Yeah, that was a close one too. As one goal difference, 8-7,
and knocking off Rockford, which was the big upset. Rockford, of course, a perennial power in lacrosse.
Aren't they a perennial power in everything they throw at you?
Not really.
I mean, track, football. I mean,
Not exactly.
You don't think so?
Not exactly.
I always hear them in the state finals of something.
Yeah. And then of course you have girls lacrosse where they're in the semifinal on the.
Ooh.
They're going to be taking on Brighton.
Who is?
Brighton? Blue Bay
Bloomfield?
Hills ladies. Yep. That's going to be a tough matchup for them, I think. Taking on Brighton. If they win that, then they're likely playing Rockford, and I think they're going to get crushed by Rockford.
You think so?
Yes. Unfortunately.
What happened to the Dragons? I
They
didn't hear.
lost to Heartland. Heartland's a very good team. Heartland is a really, really good team. It wouldn't surprise me. And Heartland's on the other side of the bracket, too.
Okay.
So, that's what happened to Lake Orion. Let's go to track and field now. Let's recap.
The
that.
season
The
is
season
over.
Is over.
It seemed like it went fast, but it felt long.
For the boys' side, the best the OA got was 6th and 7th.
Yep.
Oak Park and Seaholm taking that respectively.
Yep. Oak Park scored 30 points behind just unbelievable performance by Donnie James.
Donnie James has been really
fantastic.
well. He transferred. I know he transferred in. I know that Donnie James did.
Did he from?
I think he was in the Detroit area.
Okay.
Not sure, but he did transfer into Oak
Interesting.
Park. Yes.
With the rules change, do you think that?
Well, I think the
well, he's a
rules
senior,
change
he's
now.
on, but-
Yeah, with the rules change now for next year, it won't take effect next year, but it's going to take effect in 2 years.
Okay.
So with the rules change, how that's going to look,
But,
so
geez, he won 3 events.
he won 3
There's
events.
30 points.
Yep.
He was the scoring. He
Yep.
scored 30 points.
Yep. And then
But-
Seaholm took 7th too. So
Yes. Seaholm with 21 points, tied with Traverse City Central. And that's about it, right?
that's about it around the
well,
OA.
West Bloomfield, 14 points.
Right.
14th overall. I'm trying to look at, well, it's anybody else. Just a smattering of teams. Oxford
Yep.
rolled into 3 points in 45th place. I'm sure that was on the distance,
Yes.
the distance events.
Yes.
But yeah, were you surprised? I thought Grand Blanc might have done
No,
a little
I
bit
wasn't.
better. Not?
I was surprised East Kentwood won it based on their field event scoring.
Yeah,
I knew East Kent would win it, but I didn't think
61. I mean, they dominated.
they dominated the field events. That was the difference. So I expected that. Let's go to the girls' side now. Oak Park taking home their 4th state championship in 5 years.
Yeah.
Scoring
surprised.
66 points. But Lake Orion and Troy scored in a bunch. Lake Orion took 4th with the 48 points, and Troy took 8th with 22 points.
22,
So
yeah.
when you look at Oak Park, as mentioned, of course, they won it based on their strength, which is their distance and mid distance. I mean, which is their sprints and mid distance.
Mid distance. Yeah, it was just a great day for them. What can you say? I mean, from the 800 meters they scored to the sprints they scored. I'm going to dig up the 200 meter. I just have to call out the 200 meter champion, Asia Lorenzen. Unbelievable athlete, unbelievable talent. She took the 200 meters in 24.6, 0.2 of a second faster than Amani Newells from Jackson. And we saw her at the county meet, and you just saw it coming. I mean, just unbelievable talent. Sophomore.
And she's got 2 years.
2 years. And
they got Roundtree, that freshman, who's solid.
Another one. Yeah, so they're set. I mean, you got another Donnie James on your hand and Lorenzen. So good for you, Oak Park, man. I mean, they were fantastic. And like you said, Lake Orion 4th. When's the last time Lake Orion was up there?
This is their first top 5 finish they've ever had.
It was, I know they were aiming for top 5. Some were hoping, could they get into
Contention, yeah.
top 3 or in contention? But we know after the county meet, Oak Park was on a mission, man. They were rounded
Well, Lake
into
Orion
shape,
does
but-
have a 300-meter state champion, Melissa Simon.
Yes,
they did win
300
that.
meter hurdles, fantastic.
Madison Eaton had a nice meet.
She was 3rd.
And then of course the 100 meter. I saw the 100 meter run. That had a state record holder and their girl from Lakeland. Really incredible.
Super
there.
fast.
Yep.
I mean, the relays for Lake Orion set another school record. What 9:18? They were right there with Seaholm.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then you had Troy.
And Troy. I mean, their distance again. Just fantastic. So Troy's women's track and field and
Troy's had a really nice year.
Absolutely, state
really
title in
nice
cross
year.
country too. So it's and they're built for the long haul.
That's going to be something to see, keep an eye on, when you look at the status next year of track and field. So,
Are there any OA guys? Well, Seaholm was 11th. I'll just throw that out there with 18 points, mainly in the distance.
Yep.
But they're losing their fantastic distance runner, their senior.
Right.
Who else do we have? Is that about it?
Yeah.
Athens
scored
six points. They were 28th.
Well, their long jump had to score 6 points. So.
Bloomfield Hills was 46. I think that goes with the long jump.
With
Lopez. Long jump.
Libby Lopez, yep.
So, great track season. Tons of records and performances that we'll remember for a long time. At least I will, Sam.
Yes, and they just released the cross country regional, so those will be coming out. They are
hit me.
I will put them on the
We're gonna hold that till next week.
Hold that till next week, maybe next couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens there going forward.
Lake Orion was pushing for regionals over at their very challenging and hilly.
They were, but it's gonna be at Oganack this year
again.
Yep. So okay, now we come back. We're gonna talk about basketball hires, of course, basketball hires and goings here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Termina here with Ian Locke.
Hey, Sam.
Yep, and of course we have our guest intern
Kent
here.
Davis.
Kent Davis,
running the board for us, doing a fine job.
Hello again, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about girls basketball. Of course, we got some breaking news. Of course, I will confirm now that officially Clarkston has their There you go. Clarkston now has their new girls basketball coach. His name is John Wire. He is going to succeed Christine Rogers.
Yeah.
Now, Wire's been well known around the AAU circuit, of course, for developing players to have great careers. Of course, he's trained a lot of individual players to successes. There will be a meet and greet for the players and the families to meet the new coach. That will take place on June the 7th.
And this was just announced when?
That was, of course, they technically have not announced it yet, but I found out from sources.
Oh.
I've actually got some spies within the basketball community that I
Sammy
know
got the
coach.
scoop.
Yes, I do have the scoop.
Okay.
But when you look at this hire, though, with Wire coming in there, Clarkston last year, let's not forget, they were a state quarterfinalist team last year.
Very good.
They had some players like Maddie Beck, who's going to the University of Hawaii Hilo. Division II school there. And Kaya Lukenbach, of course, he's heading to Oakland University next year. And Molly Nicholson. So when you look at the players they lose now and the fact that and who Clarkston is gaining. Now, Clarkston does have some young talent in the system when you look at and they had a JV team that were 20-0.
Whoa.
So and you look at, of course, that group, when you look at the players, they only have one starter back.
20-0, even I can tell that's impressive.
That is impressive.
That is very good.
But here's the thing, though. JV is a lot different from varsity.
Absolutely.
Varsity is a lot different.
Yeah.
And you basically look at it.
It's rare to have a JV huge success in the JV ranks translate to the varsity level, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, but when you look at what
unless you have superstars, two defined superstars.
Well, when you look at Clarkston, of course you have Olivia Toleran and Kayla Call, both split time between JV and varsity. So there's a little bit of experience.
Well, that's
there.
good. That's
there's a little bit of experience there.
Cupboards aren't fully bare.
No, but you have Taylor Heaton there. Of course, she's the only starter back. But when I look at Clarkston, when I look at the Wolves, they're going to have some trouble this year. I think they're going to have some trouble.
Yeah.
I look at it from two ways. I look at it as one, if Wire can get these players, if he can get these players to buy in the system quick, who knows what the run they can do.
Yeah.
Or the other side is they might struggle, and I think they're going to struggle early on. Now
AAU ranks, right?
Right.
That's his background. But which AAU? It's in the Clarkston area.
It's not in the Clarkston area. Its team is called the Pride.
Okay.
It's around the entire area.
Okay.
The state of around the local
were
area.
Were Clarkston kids fed through that program,
or
do they have their own?
There's some. There's some. There's a couple from Lake Orion. That
just trying to look
there.
for the ties, because if you have the ties, that if it's a system that these guys have gone through with that, feed them in.
And it's a really good system. I know that feeder system really, really well. And I know Wire personally, really good guy. But when I look at how the AAU system is going to adapt to the high school ranks, I think it's a little bit more difficult, because when you look at if you got to have the background to translate into, okay, I want to put this program, my image, basically, if you're running basically AAU style, that's dangerous, I think. But when I look at what Clarkston's got on the pipeline, as mentioned, you have Heaton, you have Call, you have Olivia Toleran, Lexi Litton, and Piper Bostart. Bostart's the center of that team. But when you're in a division where they're going to be at, with Southfield, who's got their two top players coming back, Roy Oak's got nearly everybody back. And then you look at Bloomfield Hills, who's got everybody back. And then, of course, you have North Farmington, Stony Creek's an established team, and Groves. Groves will be very young, though, but when you have teams like Southfield Arts and Tech, Royal Oak, Bloomfield Hills, Stony Creek, North Farmington, that's going to be a pretty tall task for Clarkston, especially in that red division.
And how challenging are they going to do the preseason too?
Well,
they usually play some tough teams.
They do. They have Walled Lake. They got to play Walled Lake Western, which is going to be a really difficult game for them.
Yeah.
I really think so.
Would you say the first 5 games of that season might give you a?
It might give me an idea where they're going to be at. But when I look at Clarkston, I think they're going to have a rough road. I really do. And the reason why I say this is not because of the talent level. I think it's because of the schedule. Because when you look at, you're playing Walled Lake Western, really good team. Got nearly everybody back except their two, except Janera Flowers.
Yeah.
And then you look at, of course, when you get in the league play, you're playing Southfield Arts and Tech, who's got 2 very dynamic players, in Alexis Johnson, Shine McEvans. Royal Oak, of course, we know about Jessica Adams and Samantha Potter. Bloomfield Hills, you got Jordan Banks, Miriam Hashim, Grace Getz. They can basically shoot threes all over the place. And then you look at others, you got Stony Creek and Eckhout. I still got concerned about their team inside. North Farmington, of course, they lose to Big and Sam Cherney, but they have a couple girls in Maya Kelly and Molly Simpson, who I think who can really do some damage. And then you have Groves, of course, led by Ellie Lupridge. So
in summation, no cupcakes.
No cupcakes. No cupcakes for Clarkston.
But again, they could surprise you. You never know. I mean, not to you could go. We've seen it before with Clarkston teams. You go, hey, they lost the farm. Everybody's gone. They go, oh, geez, they're in the semis again. Or they're challenging for a league title again.
Well, we said that about them with football. You know what I mean?
How many times?
Nobody thought Clarkston football won a state championship.
Oh, absolutely not. That's perfect.
Now, do I think Clarkston girls basketball can win a state championship this upcoming year? No. But
if they didn't do it with what they had last year, they're gonna.
well, Saginaw Heritage last year was really, really good. So there was nothing they can do on that. So Clarkston really had no chance there when they took on Heritage. But when I look at Clarkston for the future, people say, well, Clarkston's going to be built maybe for 2-3 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. I mean,
especially if you're young and you have at least a core group.
But you got to take your lumps during the season. And I think Clarkston, has not felt that yet. And I think
it's been a while.
It's been a while for them to take their lumps. But I really believe when you look at, I like the wire hire. I think he's going to do a very good job with that team. But early on, I think it's going to be a really rocky road for them. I really do. And I'm not being mean to Clarkson parents or Clarkson community, but I think there's going to be some rocky road a little bit, you know.
I mean, they'll temper their expectations. You know, the expectations this season were sky high. You know, they know what they have coming in, and so you can't, like we said, you're not going to go, hey, you know, last year we're pushing for a state title. We're going to do it again next year. I mean, the goal is always that.
You got a young nucleus. I mean, you got a young nucleus. That's the problem there. When you have a young nucleus, you know, you're going to have to take your lumps early. I'm going to look at other teams, you know, I mean, very similar. Look at like Orion last year. When you look at them, of course, you know, the injury bug killed them. Of course, going through a different transition from, you know, going to Mike Griffin. You know what I mean? So, you know, and you know, we won 16 last year. I mean, like that was not it wasn't a good year, but do I think Clarkston's going to go like a 4-16?
Yeah,
no. I mean, they got way too much
that
pride.
would be more surprising than anything.
They got way too much pride, but I think the young nucleus and I think the tough schedule is going to really impact them. I really do. I mean, I think Wire would be I think he's a good fit for that team. But I just think right now, when you look at Clarkston.
Well, the good thing is they named him, so it's not lingering out there.
It's not lingering out
like
there.
Some of the teams we've seen.
Well, they're gonna have
a
meet and greet with the new coach. They're gonna have a meet and greet with them to look at to see where the vision he's gonna have for the program. And when I look at Clarkston right now, I mean, this is a team that they just lost everybody. They got a 20-0 JV team coming up. I mean, people say, well, why not keep that pipeline going?
Absolutely.
I mean, but the problem is, you know, you got to look at other areas, and I think everybody else in that red division is better than people think.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at Royal
Oak, it's tough.
Yeah.
We know that.
I mean, like when I look at the games in the league that Clarkston could have trouble with, Southfield Arts and Tech, they're gonna have trouble. I think Royal Oak, they're gonna have trouble, and Bloomfield Hills are gonna have trouble. So I think when I'm looking at it right now. Early on, when I see on paper maybe 6 potential losses in the league right now.
Ooh.
That's brutal. That's rough.
Okay.
And the Reds are a tough league.
You're more right than wrong, though, Sam. That's a scary bit. So
it is. It really is. And then, of course, let's go to our other coaching change. That's at Avondale. And Phil Dawson.
Yeah.
He is out at Avondale.
How many years was he there?
He was there for 2 seasons. Of course, Dawson led the Yellow Jackets to a 16-3 overall record. 11-1 the blue division. Now Avondale's moving up from the blue to the white. And the game that I really thought when I looked at Avondale's record was their district loss where they were just annihilated by Bloomfield Hills. And it wasn't even close. I mean, Mary Machine had a really nice game. Jordan Banks had a really nice game. Grace Getz was shooting threes. I mean, they just did not have an answer. And you look at Phil Dawson now, he's out. So now they're going to be looking for another coach. I think it's going to be their second coach in their third coach in 4 years. So that's going to be it's
so hard to get consistency. You know, we've seen it with some other teams. We talked about it like in football and that sort of thing. It's so difficult to get consistency when you're turning over that much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but this team, whoever coaches Avondale is going to have a ton of talent to work with next year. When you look at players like Olivia Russell, Kira Lee, Keziah Buggs, Madeline Herod, and Angela Willis, you know. But the stars of that team, when you look at it, is definitely going to be Russell, Lee, and Buggs. Those are your 3 top players for Avondale. I was surprised he stepped down. I mean, I wonder if it was the internal issues that affected Avondale.
Yeah.
I could think of 2 reasons. They're just speculations. But
okay.
But one, probably, the parents frustrated frustrated him so much that, maybe
Well,
decided to step down.
I was talking to you before we went on, and I believe that. I mean, what's the culture these days, right? With the parents and their kids and their athletics, it's almost obscene.
The parents are living vicariously through their kids.
A good input. I mean, it's completely the truth. It's completely the truth. I mean, the yelling and hollering, and I'm going to take a little tangent here, but we were just at a youth soccer game on a Saturday. It's not travel. It's just you pay your $50 and your kids get to play soccer. The parents were howling at referees. These high school students, middle school students that are refereeing these games, they take their time. They came out howling at her saying, "You don't know what you're doing," to the point where they're drawing tears from these kids because they were upset over a non-foul call in a youth league of kids that are 11 and 12 years old.
This is why,
madness.
and this is why, and I read an article the other day about the reason why there's a referee shortage in the MHA is because
who wants
of
to put up with the abuse?
Who wants to put up with it? Who wants to put up with it?
Exactly.
And it's hard. It's really, if you're a referee, this is really hard.
Yes,
you know
it's
it's
hostile.
It's hostile.
Is what it is.
You got to act like a neutral party here. And I think, when you look at
school sport referees of today are umpires of the 1920s. You never knew they used to put umpires in little raised cages for their own protection.
They might have to bring them back, Sam.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case. But when I look at
but if you're looking at Avondale's coach, not to get off the rails, and I don't want to steal your thunder here, but I heard it on the Lake Orion played Avondale on the guys' side early in the season, and the howling from the parents from the Avondale side was just one, they were losing, so that kind of gets you going. But it's early in the season, and boy, they were laying into their coach like something fierce. And it's not just, oh, that's a lousy play, or oh, that's a bum break. It was hardcore. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's difficult to hear.
It gets difficult. You know what I mean?
For the coaches, you feel for them.
It gets difficult. You know what I mean? And and there's times that I admit I get a little.
You do. You get emotional.
No. But I was working.
Hypercritical.
During the clock, and I was working when I was doing the clock, and seeing all the parents just like yelling and hollering and all that. I mean, like it can get to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can. But
yeah, I don't know how the coaches do it. Props to them for taking the time
to get their kids better. Get the kids better, and props to them. But back to Dawson. I mean, and I'm going by speculation. That was just pure speculation what we went through. The other one that I thought of was Waterford Kettering's girls basketball job, because Scott Woodhall stepped down, from coaching Kettering. So, and Dawson recently, yes. And Dawson,
was that announced?
It was. And Dawson does have ties to Waterford Kettering.
Where was I? I was here when that was announced. That's big news.
And Dawson has ties to Waterford Kettering.
Wow.
So, who knows? Could he want to go back? That's the question. That's a question we can't answer.
So you're already saying he's short timer?
No, I wouldn't say that. But that's a question I asked.
Wow. Well, I mean, everybody's got ties somewhere, especially if you're hanging around long enough,
Yeah, but still, for Avondale, you know what I mean? Next year, they do got a good team coming back. But the question is, does playing a tougher competition help this team? Do you think, when you look at the white division, when you look at Oxford, Lake Orion, Farmington, Troy, Athens, West Bloomfield, I mean,
it goes back to your philosophy. Mm-hmm. It never hurts, right? Because it prepares you for the postseason, right? It gets you kind of grizzled, gets you some calluses, right?
Right.
You learn how to win. Sometimes you learn how to lose, right?
But when you look at Avondale, and I'm looking at Avondale right now early on, and
Avondale.
When I look at Avondale right now, I think right now, when I look at them right now, they're middle of the pack, maybe upper echelon, maybe lower echelon, but I think they're clearly a middle of the pack team. They got some issues they got to address. So there's some questions But they got the talent to score. They got Russell who can score, Lee can score, Bugs can score. I mean, the question for me is the interior. So we'll see what happens going forward. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
going forward.
and you hope they're going to get consistency for a while. You know,
Yes.
for any student athlete, you're hoping that that the coach will hang for a while. You know, it's just to get some stability in a program.
We'll see what happens going forward.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to take a break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some. We're going to talk my district projections for volleyball and basketball here on Oaa Now.
Can't wait.
Yes.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Timmy here with Ian Locke here.
Hey.
Yes. Now, of course, we're gonna talk about a blog article that I just released the other day. My projected volleyball basketball districts. Now, the official MHA basketball volleyball district will not be released until around June 15th, around there. Once we have that, I will blog it and we'll talk about the official district.
So you're doing your Swami guess.
Sort of like my Swami guess.
I'm going to pick one.
Yeah, very
Okay.
similar to that.
If you get them all right, Sam, I'll let you pick my lottery numbers for me.
I should. I really do want that. Anyway, let's go to my project. We're gonna go from District 2 to District 1. Division 2 to Division 1. I put like my first one's District H, so my projections here, I base them on geographical location.
Yeah.
So here are my projections. Hazel Park, District H is my projections. Hazel Park, Ferndale University, Clarkston, Centerline, and Madison Heights Lampier. That's one of my first districts. The reason what I said here was, I said there's not a lot of changes. I mean, the only issue that I had was Pontiac, was Birmingham Detroit Country Day, whether putting them here in this one.
Yeah.
But also bring Hazel Park in. And I think it gives a new team a chance, like a Clarkston, a Ferndale, Madison Heights, Lampier, and a Centerline. It gives those teams a chance to compete, where they just have been just annihilated by a team like Birmingham Detroit Country Day.
Yeah, the wipe them out.
Basically bringing Hazel Park in, I think will help here. I really believe that putting Hazel Park with these teams will help them. But I also think when I look at it from a basketball standpoint, it kind of helps a team like Ferndale, who has got a new coach in Juan Rickman. We know him from his days at East English Village Prep.
Yeah.
I think it gives Ferndale a chance to compete and bring a district championship to Ferndale. I think it benefits Ferndale if this were the alignment.
Yeah. But
we'll see. I think it will.
Now, just for the layperson, I don't follow the district alignments like you do. Do they shuffle them
They
frequently?
will shuffle them
or is it
frequently,
just...
or they might keep them the same. Who knows? But it all depends very on classes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Based on enrollment.
All right. So similar to what was the recent adjustment? Was it football that we were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
But but Harrison, Pontiac, Hazel Park, and Ferndale are going to be the Division 2, which is technically the old Class B.
Yes.
So both teams experience the enrollment drop a little bit. Harrison, of course, we know what their situation is.
Last year, right?
Yep. Hazel Park is going to be dropping down. They experience the enrollment loss in students. So that's why they're down.
That's going to be interesting over the next 5 to 7 years. All districts are finding enrollment loss.
It's shocking. Shocking to say the least there. Let's go to my District G. This is where I have Harrison is here. I have him with Harrison, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Blue Bay Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood.
Yeah.
Macomb, Luther North, New Haven, and Birmingham Detroit Country Day.
New Haven.
If this was the district that I thought about, could you just imagine a district final between New Haven and Detroit Country Day?
Sure, why not?
That would be insane. Would be ridiculous. And then you have Harrison. Of course, the reason why I put Harrison here is because of the fact that they have no girls basketball team, and I put Birmingham Detroit Country Day up here. It's the fact that they counteract that girls basketball loss. Now, it was set a stage up with Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory, so that would be really interesting to say the least there. So volleyball, I still think it's playing Notre Dame Preps to lose. Now I think Birmingham Troy Country will challenge, but not much. Pontiac's my dark horse in boys basketball. Besides New Haven and Troy Country Day. I mean, it'll be a tough chore though, but we'll see if this is the district alignment. Of course, as mentioned, the alignment will not be released until later on during the month. So, as mentioned, let's go to my Division 1.
Do you see any changes coming on the D1 side?
I do see a couple of them. Let's go to my District A. This is where I have Clarkston, Lake Orion, Oxford, but I bring in Lapeer coming in. Brandon and Romeo. I bring Romeo into this district. The reason why I centered this one around Lake Orion, and putting Lake Orion with Oxford, of course, putting with Clarkston. Obviously, those three teams, they could be separated. Clarkston, considering if they put them west, or something, but Lake Orion, Oxford, definitely inseparable.
And that could be. I mean, we've seen it in the past. Clarkston, Lake Orion going head to head. How many years in a row?
Yeah, but I think if you separate Lake Orion,
you throw Romeo in.
If you separate Lake Orion and Clarkston, I think that'll make a lot more sense.
Yes, I do too.
I think that would. I think bringing in Lapeer, because Lapeer's been up in the district with Davison. You have Saginaw, Arthur Hill in the Flint area. Flint just, I think the Flint schools just, added another team in there. So, so I said, and Lapeer's an outlier. When you look at Lapeer, they are an outlier. So
you've been paying attention to Lapeer up there?
I have been. They just won a softball district championship.
Yeah.
So Lapeer would be an interesting fit. It would be a really interesting fit.
I think geographically it would be perfect.
Geographically, bring them south make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Brandon, of course, bringing him a little southeast makes sense too. Now, the team that people are going to say, where's Holly at?
Yeah.
Where's Holly? I have Holly going down to meet with Wall Lake schools. I have them going to meet with Milford and Lakeland. I think that's the perfect fit for them. That would be really interesting, to say the least. Really would be.
Yeah.
Romeo's another one. Romeo.
Always tough, man.
Romeo, yeah. Except I bring them west instead of south. And I could see that happening. It wouldn't surprise me if they go back south or if no changes are made.
Yeah.
But Romeo is much closer to Lake Orion than they are to Utica Eisenhower. Really are.
But do you think, let's say, split up the powers of Clarkston, Lake Orion, and then you bring Romeo in? Isn't that kind of a...
Not really.
You don't think so?
No. Let's go to my District B. As mentioned, this district I said would be all three Rochester schools, which is Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Utica Eisenhower, and Utica. Pretty much very similar to the district 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought about moving Utica, bringing them north. I don't think they fit really well with that south area. Then taking Romeo out. And if this were the case, I think it benefits, in boys basketball, I think it benefits Adams. In girls basketball, you have Utica Eisenhower and Stony Creek. And then you have, and then volleyball, Stony Creek, Utica Eisenhower. So girls sports is either going to be those two teams.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good district for Utica to come north, to be, instead of being that vicious district with Utica Ford where they're at and all that. So I think, taking Romeo out would also help wonders too. But they're so geographically close together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why not keep those four together?
But we've seen odd pairings like that before. Like, really, someone that has to travel quite a distance to that regional, and it seems like an outlier.
District, yep.
Yeah, or the district. You just see it's like an outlier, and you go, really, you're in this district?
Yep. And then let's go to my District C. You got Avondale, Bloomfield Hills, West Bloomfield, Waterford Kettering, Waterford Mont, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's. Really no changes in that one.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. No changes. My District D. This one I did create a little controversy here.
Wouldn't be the first.
I had Troy Athens, Seaholm, Royal Oak, Berkeley, and Birmingham Brother Rice, Birmingham Marion. Of course, Marion for girls sports, Birmingham Brother Rice for boys basketball.
Yeah.
Brother Rice got a new coach in there the other day. Really good coach. So when I look at this district, when I look at this district,
Yeah,
the
what's
controversy bringing in Berkeley. I think geographically, when you look at Berkeley, I think they're closer to Royal Oak, and I think it will ease the pain of Berkeley fans having to go down south to Detroit, to see Oak Park, Detroit Renaissance.
Yeah.
For them to come north, I think it's more tolerable for them. If you put them with Royal Oak, Seaholm, and the Troy schools, I think it's more tolerable for them. I think they can compete. Whereas when they're down in Detroit, they're virtually toast.
Yeah, they're toast.
So basically,
Do you think that there might be a possibility to do that?
yeah. I look at the geographical map, you know what I mean? And basically put Berkeley, Royal Oak together and basically split Oak Park, keep Oak Park southeast.
Yeah.
And that goes into my next projected district, which is Oak Park, Southfield Arts and Tech, Groves, Detroit Renaissance, Detroit University Detroit Jesuit, / Farmington Hills Mercy, and Warren Fitzgerald. Geographically, it makes perfect sense. Now, the biggest controversy here for me was Farmington Hills Mercy. Initially, I forgot to put them in my blog. But thankfully, thanks to a good viewer, I put them back in. So now I had to decide where to put them. Do I put Farmington Hills Mercy with North Farmington?
Yeah.
Or do I put them east of Middle Belt, make them travel east of 696, and basically go in that vicious Detroit
Well,
district?
it sounds like you want to ship them out of town. You forgot them in your blog. Maybe there's some subconscious there.
No.
Sam.
Not really. Boys basketball, I think the best teams are Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit, Oak Park, and Detroit Renaissance. Girls basketball, it's Southfield Arts and Tech. You have Detroit Renaissance in there and Farmington Hills Mercy. That's vicious enough. And the volleyball, it's just Farmington Hills Mercy. So, and maybe Detroit Renaissance. So, put those teams together, you got a vicious district.
Absolutely.
That is vicious. And then my final district projection here I got is Farmington, North Farmington, Livonia Franklin, Livonia Stevenson, Redford Thurston, Redford Eden.
Makes sense geographically again.
Yes, it does, because Farmington, closer to Livonia.
Yeah.
I thought about North Farmington a little bit because of the location, but I decided to keep them in there and made a huge divider between Middlebelt Road. Farmington High School and North Farmington High School are west of Middlebelt. And Farmington Hills Mercy is east of Middlebelt. So kind of do the divider line.
Yeah.
Make a divider line. It makes a lot more sense to do that. And you know what? And I think
How does that compare to what's currently running?
Well, currently you have a district with Farmington Hills Mercy. You had the Farmington schools, you had the Southfield school, you had Southfield, you had Oak Park, you had Southfield, Groves, all in Farmington Hills Mercy, all in one district.
Okay.
So I'm just splitting everything up. So my thoughts here are, I think if the MHA decides to go with my projections, now they haven't before, which is really infuriating me. but
among other things,
well, of course.
We'll load up in the ONTV van. We'll cruise up to East Lansing. We can knock on some doors. What do you say?
Oh, that would be great. Would be really good.
We should do a live report on site of the MHSA's offices.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I've been trying to get a couple people to come on. You know what I mean? I think they definitely look good to come on.
Worse things have been lobbied for.
Yes, true.
Oh,
That's
yes.
true.
Oh, yes.
Sammy cracked me up.
So I believe that these would be the perfect districts. Now, I'm not sure how the MHA is going to go with this route, but I hope the MHA does consider my thoughts into consideration. I did work. I actually took me 2 hours to figure out these.
A whole 2 hours.
Took me 2 hours. But
the scary thing, listeners and viewers and whatever, you're more right than wrong on so many of these things. It's scary. So, I mean, this is going to be a fun reveal. I mean, we got to wait till, what'd you say, the end
probably
of June?
around the middle part of June, when they release them. I will have a
Couple
blog.
weeks.
I will have a blog article posted on it. We'll have my insight on it. And of course the projections were early projections, not the actual projections.
Sammy, we should start a segment on this show of how close was he?
We should. We should.
Because it's uncanny sometimes. I mean, the stuff you picked, like the teams, like, it just...
most of my girls' soccer projections that I was really wrong on. Almost every single one of those wrong on.
But again, I mean, it's fun. It makes for a
does.
fun discussion. That's why we're here to talk, right?
It does. I mean, when you look at, of course, everybody around the OA docket, of course, it's you got to keep an eye on the teams. I mean, other news, of course, we did find out Hazel Park did have a boys basketball coach. We will find out who it is. And then the Grove situation, we do not have a coach as of yet. So when you look at Groves, we know they don't have a coach as of yet, and Hazel Park, we do not know who it is yet.
Not yet.
But my final thoughts before we go. Of course, I was at the middle school meet on Thursday.
Yeah.
My 2 shot putters did place, which is great.
Awesome. Congratulations.
I did talk to various football coaches. Looking forward to the football preview shows and everything. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Any news on where that will be?
Not sure yet.
I know we're lobbying for a local angle.
We're lobbying.
So
we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens.
Yep. So,
okay, now.
Well, Kent, I just want to, before we roll out of here, should we say thank you to Kent for sitting in?
Yep. Thank you to Ken for sitting in. Yes.
You're very welcome.
And he'll be here next week as well, and throughout the summer working with us will be good. So thank you, Kent. And should we, since I'm not writing the board, I usually give you the cue. I'll give Kent the cue, and you can have your final thoughts with our music in the background. So roll it, Kent. Closing music in the background.
My final thoughts, of course, we'll see what happens. Keeping an eye on the basketball situations over at Hazel Park and Groves. And, of course, we are, and also now at Avondale Girls Basketball and Mix. So keep an eye on the basketball situations as well. And also coming up in football as well. So keep an eye on those starts as well coming in as well. So this is Sammy Toomey here, signing out. Take care. God bless. See you all soon.
Thank you, Sam. Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Taramina, and the thoughts and views on this show are his and his alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast here at ONTV, give us a call at 248-393-1060. Classes are only $25, and it's just 2 evenings. Get your podcast made. We'll see you next time. See ya!